Okay, we are on chapter 16, The Singing. When Lena heard the guards shout, terror shot through her. She ran faster than she had ever before, her heart pounding wildly. Behind her, the guards kept up their shouting, and she knew that if other guards were nearby, they would come running. She had to find a hiding place. Ahead of her was Bilbolio Square, where a spot she could duck. Was there a spot she could duck into? And like an answer, Dune's words came back to her. The library. It's almost always open, even on holidays. She didn't have time to think. She didn't ask herself whether Edward Pocket would be willing to hide her, or whether there would be a good place in the library to hide. She just ran for the passageway that led to the library door and darted down. But the library door wouldn't open. She turned the knob frantically. She pulled and pushed, and then, at the same time, she heard the running footsteps of the guards coming into the square. She saw the small handwritten sign stuck to the door, closed for the singing. The guards were very near now. If she ran, they would see her. She flattened herself against the wall, hoping they wouldn't think to look in the library passage. But they did. "Here she is!" yelled one of the guards. She tried to shoot past him, but the passage was too narrow, and he caught her by the arm. She pulled and twisted and kicked, but the chief guard had her now. He gripped her other arm with fingers that felt like iron. "Stop your struggling," he shouted. Lena reached up and grabbed a handful of his wiry beard. She pulled with all her might, and the chief guard roared, but he didn't let go. He yanked her forward, almost off the ground, and the two guards dragged her across the square at an awkward, lopsided pace that made her stumble over her own feet. "You're hurting me," Lena said. "Don't hold so tight." "Don't you tell us what to do," said the chief guard. "We'll hold you tight till we get you where we're going." "Where's that?" said Lena. She was so enraged at her bad luck that she almost forgot to be afraid. "You're going to see the mayor, missy," said the chief guard. "He'll decide what to do with you." "But I haven't done anything wrong." "Spreading vicious rumors," said the guard. "Telling dangerous lies calculated to cause civic unrest." "It's not a lie," she said, but the guard gripped her arm even more tightly and gave her a shove, so she stumbled sideways. "No talking," he said, and they walked the rest of the way in grim silence. A few people had already gathered in Harkins Square, though the workers were still getting it ready for the singing. Street sweepers crossed the square back and forth, pushing their brooms. Someone appeared at a second-floor window of a building on Gilly Street and unfurled one of the banners that was always displayed for the singing. A long piece of red cloth, faded after years of use, but it's still showing its design of wavy lines representing the river, the source of all power. That was for the Song of the River. There would be a banner on the Broad Street side of the square, too. This one deep yellow gold with a design like a grid to represent the Song of the City, and another banner on the Otterville side for the Song of Darkness, perfectly black except for a narrow yellow edge. The guards marched Lena up the steps of the gathering hall and through the wide doorway. They took her down the main corridor, opened the door at the end, and gave her one last push, a push that caused her to stagger forward in an undignified way and bump against the back of a chair. It was the same room she'd been in that other, much happier day, her first day as a messenger. Nothing had changed. The frayed red curtains, the armchairs, and the upholstery worn thin, the hideous mud-colored carpet, the portraits on the wall looked down at her sorrowfully. "Sit there," said the chief guard. He pointed at a small, hard-looking chair that faced the large armchair. Lena sat. Next to the chair was a small table she remembered from before, with a china teapot and a tray of china teacups with chips around the edges. The chief guard left the room. To find the mayor, Lena supposed. The other one stood silently with his arms folded across his chest. Nothing happened for a while. Lena tried to think about what she would say to the mayor, but her mind wouldn't work. Then the door to the front hall opened, and the mayor came in. It was the first time Lena had seen him up close since she had delivered Looper's message to him. He seemed even more immense. His baggy face was the color of a mushroom. He wore a black suit that stretched out far enough across his vast belly for one button to connect with its buttonhole. He moved ponderously around the room and settled into his armchair, filling it completely. Next to his chair was a table, and on the table was a brass bell the size of a fist. The mayor gazed for a moment at Lena with eyes that looked like the openings of tunnels, and then he turned to the guard. "Dismissed," he said, waving the back of his hand at him. "Return when I ring the bell." The guard left, and the mayor swung his gaze back to Lena. "I am not surprised," he said. He lifted one arm and pointed a finger at Lena's face. "You have been in trouble before. Going where you shouldn't." Lena started to speak, but the mayor held up his hand. It was an oddly small hand with short fingers like a ripe pea pod. "Curiosity," said the mayor. "A dangerous quality, unhealthy, especially regrettable in one so young." "I'm 12, said Lena. "Silence," said the mayor. "I am speaking." He wriggled slightly from side to side, wedging himself more firmly into the chair. He'll need to be pried out of it, Lena thought. "Ember, as you know," the mayor went on, is in a time of difficulty. Extraordinary measures are necessary. This is a time when citizens should be most loyal, most law-abiding, for the good of all. Lena said nothing. She watched how the flesh under the mayor's chin bulged in and out as he spoke, and she turned her eyes from this unpleasant sight and looked carefully around the room. She was thinking now, calculating, but not about what the mayor was saying. "The duties of a mayor," said the mayor, "are complex, cannot be understood by regular citizens, particularly children. That is why," he went on, leaning slightly forward so that his stomach pushed further out along his lap, "certain things must remain hidden from the public. The public would not understand. The public must have faith," said the mayor, once again holding up his hand, this time with a finger pointing at the ceiling. "That all is being done for their benefit, for their own good." "Hogwash," said Lena. The mayor jerked backwards. His eyebrows came down over his eyes, making them into dark slits. "What?" he said. "Surely I heard you incorrectly." "I said hogwash," said Lena. "It means—" "Do not presume to tell me what it means," the mayor cried. "Impotence will make things worse for you." He was breathing heavily, and his words came out with spaces in between them. "A misguided child, such as yourself, requires a forceful lesson." His short fingers gripped the arm of the chair. "Perhaps," he said, "your curiosity has led you to wonder about the prison room. What could it be like, huh? Dark, cold, uncomfortable?" He made the smile that Lena remembered from assignment day. His lips pulled away from his small teeth, his gray cheeks folded. "You will have a chance to find out. You will become closely acquainted with the prison room. The guards will escort you there. Your accomplice, another known troublemaker, will join you as soon as he is located." The mayor turned to look for the bell. This was the moment when Lena had planned to make a dash for freedom. She thought she had a slim chance to succeed if she moved fast enough. But something happened in that instant that gave her a head start. The lights went out.